So do you know those horses that are always kind of like in your space, lipping, mouthing, maybe even biting, and they're just kind of like annoying and maybe actually a little bit dangerous too if they're biting? That is what we're going to be talking about today. Whether your horse is already doing this behavior or it's something you're hoping to prevent, we're going to be jumping into why your horse is maybe extra mouthy or biting, and then also what you can do to prevent it or even teach a different behavior instead. Hi, I'm Ruby. I'm a whole horsemanship trainer, and I'm on a mission to help you and your horse build a deeper connection through whole horsemanship and wellness practices. My goal is to help you experience more magic with your horse in the everyday moments, as well as build more meaning in the tough times, like when your horse is always trying to bite you. So today we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to start off by mentioning something that it just is stuck in my memory about this, and I apologize. I don't remember who to give credit to for this. So if you know, please leave a comment about that. But the idea is, there was like some trainer at some point that somebody asked them, what do you do when a horse bites you? And their answer was, well, I just never let it get that far. I've never really been bit. And so that kind of always is a good reminder to me of how important it is and how important it is to own your space and not let your horse come into your space. But let's also talk a little bit about why horses are mouthy or learn to bite. The most common reason that people think their horse is mouthy is from hand feeding treats. And while this can absolutely be a contributor, that is not always the only reason. And so I think it's worth kind of exploring some of those other reasons. When you look at how horses interact with each other, they often use their lips and mouths as a grooming tool. So they'll use it to kind of scratch each other's withers or clean each other up all over or scratch themselves. And they also will often use their lips and mouths to show affection. So sometimes horses are really just looking to show you some affection, and they're kind of misguided in how they do that, and they don't remember that they are 10 times our size and that they can really hurt us without even trying. This is one thing. If you think your horse is potentially just trying to show affection, let's find a way to teach our horse a different way to show affection while also protecting our personal space. The other reason that a horse might be kind of mouthy with another horse is to protect themselves or guard a resource. So if you see maybe a couple of mares out in a pasture and one of them is kind of protecting the feed, that could be another reason that your horse is exhibiting that behavior. And so thinking about, is there maybe something painful, or is the horse feeling agitated or stressed out in some way? Maybe have them thoroughly examined by a vet. For example, if they always get mouthy or try to bite when you tighten up the cinch, maybe they have ulcers or back pain or something is causing them to feel like they need to protect themselves. And so by removing that stressor or that pain, we might be able to also then teach them that they don't have to protect themselves so much and that they can just relax. And then obviously, we do have the horses that just become mouthy because they're always looking for treats. And so we're also going to talk about how to teach your horse to not grab at treats. And it also could be just that you need to just stop hand feeding your horse and just put their treats in a bucket. But if you really would like to hand feed your horse, there is a way to do it that does not teach them to be mouthy and reinforces a more polite way of taking a treat. Before we jump into that, I do just want to kind of retouch on this idea about giving your horse a healthy outlet for the behavior that they're kind of have the urge to exhibit. So I think about my toddler as an example. When she's teething and she has this really intense need to bite, and sometimes she'll try to bite me, and I just always cannot bite me. That is a hard boundary, but here's something you can bite, and I give her a teether or a pacifier or something that she can really chomp down on. And it's the same idea with our horses. So if your horse is really trying to initiate some kind of affection or play, giving them more opportunities to play with you or be affectionate in a way that does not involve biting or their mouth can really sometimes help to fix that problem. And then really making sure that you're owning your space with your horse, giving them gentle nudges to keep their nose out of your space with your elbow or your hand to make sure that they're not kind of coming in unnecessarily, and then inviting them in for snuggles when it is an appropriate time to do so. Something that I would definitely not recommend doing would be kicking your horse in the shins, something I hear people talk about, smacking your horse hard in the face when they do bite, or even I've seen some people pinch the lip. The problem with all of these things is you have to be so careful about your timing. They might work in the case that you are getting them exactly in the moment that they're trying to get you, and that kind of is like almost the way that another horse would kind of get back at them for being mouthy or biting. And so that is something that they understand in their language. But the problem is that if you're even just a tiny bit off with your timing and you're a little bit late, it doesn't translate the same way to your horse, and they're actually not going to understand why you're kind of taking out this aggression on them, and it might even make the behavior worse. So something to think about there. Those are things that we do not want to do to teach our horse to not be mouthy. Okay, so the best way to deliver a treat to a horse is you're going to put a little bit of something kind of boring, like maybe hay pellets or a little bit of their grain or maybe some cut up pieces of carrot in your hand, and you're going to start to act like you're going to give it to your horse. And as soon as they swing their head over and try to grab it or steal it, you're just going to take it away and hold it close to your body. You're going to wait for your horse. It might take a minute, and you might have to kind of bump them out of your space a few times if they're getting a little bit too mouthy or grabby, but as soon as they kind of stop showing interest and they look away from you and the treat, that's when you're going to take the treat all the way to their mouth to deliver it far away from your body. If they, as you're making that motion to go give them the treat, if they start to turn and try to take the treat again, you're going to just simply take your hand back close to your body again and just wait for them to look away again. And each time you do this, it'll get a little bit faster. They might look away a little bit sooner. But the idea is that your horse is really learning that the way to get a treat is not by invading your space and mouthing and grabbing, but really just to like stay in their own space and wait for you to bring the treat to them politely all the way to their mouth. You can do this like 3 to 5 times in each session and repeat the session 2 or 3 times a day. And over the course of a week or so, this should fix the behavior. If your horse likes to really grab or really bite and you're worried about your safety at all, you can also do this in what we call protected contact. So your horse is going to be on one side of a fence or tie rail and you're going to be on the other side so that there's a physical barrier between you and your horse, keeping you safe. I hope all of that was really helpful. Please leave comments with any questions you might have about this. Make sure to check out the rest of this playlist for more horsemanship snacks, bite-sized little things you can do this weekend to help you enjoy your horse more and deepen your relationship. Until next time, make sure to hug your horse for me.